everybody, I'm Tom.
And I'm Kevin, here with Tone Steady. All right, so we're going to be playing mission number 3, North Korean reinforcements. Now, the twist on this mission is Tom's going to start with the F-9F Panther. Now, this is an incredibly better plane than my Yak-9, which I start off with. However, if I can make it to the beginning of round 2, I'm going to gain a MiG-15, at which point I'm going to have a huge advantage over him. For skills, I get a choice of focused or grit. Focused means every time he adjusts his range, I get to draw a card. Or grit means that I decrease my performance by 1, but increase my thrust and afterburners by 1. So that's a good decision for me. He gets a choice of Eagle Eyes, which means that he will start with initiative, or Fighter Pilot, which means that he'll have a gun rating increased by 1. Now here's where that matters. He has a starting gun rating of 1. The campaign means that he gains +1 to that. If he chooses Fighter Pilot as well, he'll have a +3 gun rating. The highest discard you ever need to drop for a gun attack is 3, which means he would never need to do any positioning adjustments on me. He could just slap down every gun card that he has in his hand and just take pot shots at me. So that's the decision that he gets to make. I get to choose focus or grit. And which one did you choose?
Well, if you've watched any of our other videos, you'll know that I like guns, so I'm going with Fighter Pilot. And I'll take my chances with my lucky penny for the initiative.
All right, I went with focused. So every time he adjusts his range, I'm going to be able to draw a card, and hopefully, as soon as my other MiG-15 joins in as well, they'll both be able to draw cards every time he adjusts range.
I was almost certain that you were going to go with grit.
Yeah, I thought about it, but then my thrust would equal my performance, and that just, I don't know, it feels a little weird to me.
And I guess, yeah, because I was thinking for the afterburners, but it would just make your afterburner rating 1.
Well, my dash would stay a dash.
Ah, see? Fair enough. Because there are no afterburners, especially on a Yak.
Yeah.
That thrust 2 is good. Oh, I have thrust 2 also. So I'm liking the Panther. Not a fan of the Saber.
A flip from our last fight, because your Sabers had thrust of 1 versus my MiG-15s had thrust of 2.
Right.
Now you have the 2, I have the 1.
Yes, but my hand size is 1 better than that MiG-15's was.
Yeah. That's going to be rough.
It is. So,
So get that point to us.
let's consult my lucky penny. Let's see what old Abe has to say. Call it in the air, Kevin.
All right, I'm going to go with heads this time.
And it was tails.
Shoot. All right.
Yeah.
Go. I'm going to draw 1, 2, 3, 4 cards to begin with.
And I'm going to draw 5, and I am going to use the initiative to go first, because this game, it's all about being quick.
All right, come on up and get me.
I fully intend to. If I had any cards, it would let me do that. Oh. Well, that's got to be the play. So I'm going to play a scissors card. Oh, you know what? I'm not. I have a higher speed than Kevin does, which means I get a free range or positioning adjustment of 1
Correct.
every turn. And I'm going to use that to close range. I'm going to change your range to guns on the Yak.
You know what? I'm going to play a barrel roll to stop that.
Oh my goodness, you and your barrel rolls.
Yeah.
That's like
Hey, at some point, I'm going to play the Tom. All right? I'm going to pull the Tom by diving down, coming back up, and drawing cards.
It might work. It could happen. I'm going to counter your barrel roll with a yo-yo.
Ooh, I'm going to counter your yo-yo with a scissors.
Oh, goodness. You really don't want to...
And you're still at medium altitude, correct?
I am.
Okay.
Oh, and you're at high. That's right.
Yeah.
That's all right. You're going to play a scissors to counter my yo-yo.
Yep. Not. You're guns are far better than mine.
I'm
I
gonna.
don't want,
What's that?
I don't want anything to do with your guns right now. They're scary.
I'm gonna play a scissors to counter your scissors.
Ooh, see, I really don't like that. I'm playing a scissors to counter that.
Oh goodness.
All right. One card, baby. Let's go.
Mm-mm-mm. I'm not afraid of the Mig, to be honest with you.
Well, could surprise you.
And that's gonna come back to haunt me. That statement will haunt me. But I'm gonna draw 2, ending my turn.
All right. Beginning of round 2.
No. Yeah, round 2, turn 1. You haven't gone yet.
Correct. Still on turn 1. Okay. I was scooting stuff over.
Really want that Mig.
I am going to dive down to medium.
Excellent.
Pick up a card. And in my turn,
Yeah, I saw that coming.
I am going to draw one more card. Now it is the beginning of the second round. My Yak 815 flies in at medium.
What the?
Aircraft 3.
Where did he come from? Where did he come from?
All right.
Unbelievable.
Focus. All right. Aircraft 3 is in the game
It is.
with his 1, 2, 3, and 4 cards. Look at that.
Yeah. Now I have aircraft. I have the MiG marked on my screen as aircraft 2.
Well, for me, I have Yak-9 is aircraft 1, Panther is 2, MiG is 3.
No problem.
All right. I'm happy adjusting also.
All right. So I have the initiative.
You want to close range?
I do. Yes, always. I always want to close range, Kevin.
Perfect.
And I'm going to do so.
Okay. Who against?
I am going to close range. How many cards does the Yak have?
Yak has 3.
3, because he dropped his altitude.
Correct. Yeah, 1, he dropped his altitude, which meant his thrust of 0 pumped up back to 1.
Nice.
What's it heat?
I am going to play a red line for range
Ooh. Against?
against the Yak.
You know what? I'll let you have it.
All
So
right.
you're going to adjust your range from heat seeking down to guns, and also I'm assuming the Yak's range from heat seeking down to guns.
Most definitely.
I like the sound of that.
I
get
do
to draw
too.
2 cards.
2.
Yep. Both my pilots have focus.
Oh, they each get to draw 1. Right. Is that the way that works? Or do you draw 1 for each?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah.
Because both of them have the focus skill,
Right.
both of them draw 1 card every time the enemy adjusts their own range.
Just making sure you didn't play draw 2 for the Yak. Because that would be detrimental.
A little bit. Well, what you doing? This is the baby little Yak.
Yeah, but if I can't ignore him. I don't have tunnel vision, I promise.
Okay. I feel like you're going after the little guy because you're worried about him.
I don't want him coming back to bite me later. So I'm playing tone weak guns on the Yak.
Okay. You know what? I got me a barrel roll.
A barrel roll.
Barrel roll.
I would be lying if I said I was surprised. For those of you who have been watching this series, Kevin plays a lot of barrel rolls.
You know, there's a skill somewhere in the game that every time you play a barrel roll, you get something, and I'm definitely going to be taking that when I get the chance.
I'm surprised that you don't. I'm going to counter your barrel roll with a yo-yo.
Well, I'm going to counter your yo-yo with an ace pilot.
Oh, I'm going to counter your ace pilot
With nothing. All right, perfect.
by ending my turn and drawing 2 cards.
Okay.
Oh, ace pilot. You turned it around on me. That's supposed to be my move.
Yeah, I know. It's the first one I've drawn for these games.
Indeed.
All right, so what? You got 5 cards in your hand? 4 cards?
I have 4.
Okay.
4 perfect cards.
Okay, so 2 guns, good angle, 2 ace pilots, right?
Yes, exactly.
Something like that. Okay.
Oh, ace pilot.
I am going to. Yak is going to go.
Okay.
He's going to draw 1 card, and he's going to play a red line card to gain 2 positioning on the
Oh my goodness.
Now, this is a bit of an insult to injury, having a little Yak-9 and positioning on a Panther, but let's see what you got.
Unless I let him. If he's on my tail, he thinks he's safe.
Yeah. And then you flip around and bust him.
That's the plan. I am going to counter that with a break.
Ooh, I'm countering that with a break.
Are you now?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm just trying to make your pilot tired.
Well,
I don't mind if he's...
You got 1 card left.
I don't mind if he's behind me, because I previous experience with these North Korean Yak pilots has taught me that they tend to not remember to charge their guns.
All right, so I'm behind you now, right?
You are.
All right. Well, as it turns out, this guy, remember, he has a tone weak guns. If tailing, discard 1 card, -1 due to the campaign notes. I am all out of cards.
That is bad.
Oh, bad? How bad? Is the baby little Yak gonna knock down the Panther?
Well, except for that break I'm playing.
Ah.
So, no.
Alright. So that ends, so I'm out of cards. My Yak's out of cards.
He is.
And for this, I am going to drop my position, so my Yak is going to return back to neutral with your Panther.
And how are you dropping position? What causes that?
You can decide at any point in your turn to return back to neutral if you have position on another aircraft.
Good to know. Because I guarantee you that question would have been asked.
Yeah.
How did Kevin drop his position?
What are you doing?
Right.
Yeah. All right.
Excellent.
Now, MiG-15 swooping in. He has a speed same as yours.
Nothing but tone
Gonna
cards.
What was that?
He's got nothing but tone cards.
You're right. I got a tone steady.
Mm.
Position it. Oh, shoot. Hold on.
Whatever you just showed me, I didn't see.
No, that's fine. I'm going to play it either way this turn. It's just, I forgot, I'm at heat seeking still and you're at guns.
I am.
So, I can't hold any position on you. I really don't want to... I'm going to play a scissors card for the range adjust, bringing heat seeking into guns.
Oh my goodness. Scissors.
Yeah,
As a maneuver.
Yep.
All right, you are at guns range.
Next, I'm going to play Tone Steady for a position adjustment of 2 to get on your tail.
Oh, goodness.
Goodness is right.
I don't much care for that.
All right, what you got?
But I can't do anything about it.
Right, I am on your tail.
You are.
And
Let me adjust that. Panther, there we go. The Panther's such a cool looking plane.
it is, yeah. I love the, I don't know enough about them, but I love the nubs that are on their, I guess the fuel tanks on their wings.
Yeah, they kind of look like nacelles, but they probably are fuel tanks.
Yeah. Yeah, it's short, it's compact, and
Yeah.
just, I don't know. It looks real maneuverable. Like the MiG-15 doesn't look as maneuverable as the Panther.
No, the MiG-15 looks like something you'd throw.
Yeah. Yeah, like a glider.
Right.
Like throw out your hand or something.
Yeah, with those swept wings. But the Panther looks scrappy.
Yeah. Looks like he'd just maneuver right on your tail and blast you.
Mm-hmm. That'd be ideal.
All right. I am then playing a tone weak guns.
Oh, no.
Tailing card 1 card. Aircraft rating up by 1, so blasting you. What you gonna do about it?
I'm going to show everybody your tone weak card
All right.
because suspense is good.
Oh yeah, it is.
You were playing guns, right?
Yep.
And the only card that I have
Uh-huh.
is scissors, which does not react to guns,
Nope.
and tone steady. So I'm going down in flames in my scrappy little Panther.
All right.
Goodness gracious.
Oh, look at that. I like that.
Well done, sir.
You know, I gotta say, it was real terrifying in the beginning. Your big old Panther maneuvering around and my little Yak just trying to fend you off.
Yeah, I was really hoping I could get that yak at least for some of the points because, 2-on-1 is rough. I got lucky in that first game because you didn't draw a lot of gun cards, and I was able to shoot one of the yaks in the first game in the campaign.
Yeah.
So taking that yak out would have boosted my morale quite a bit. And I was lucky to draw a guns card and get a shot off at all. But
Yeah.
you maneuvered into position, got those other cards out of my hand, and had what you needed to do the job.
Yeah, I had to make a decision while I was going of, for this turn, do I want the Yak or the MiG to go first? And I decided on the Yak because he didn't have very many cards, but the cards he did have were powerful. So the red line, get on your tail, the guns, good angle, or whatever. And so I was able to shoot you, and I had a feeling with all your cards to be able to stop that, but I doubted you would then be able to hold off against a second round of
Right.
shots. Yeah.
Yeah, coming in. I had one red line, and I'm. I don't think you should play red line unless you're playing it against guns or a missile.
Yeah.
And that range 3 is tempting, and that's a mistake to use it for that. I think, which I did use it for that. It's just such a good defensive card that it shouldn't be wasted on a range adjustment.
Yeah, it's something we had a lot of fun doing. Was the more powerful the card was, the better the position and range adjustments were.
Right.
Because when I was talking with Dan about it, I thought, well, if the card is very powerful, then the range and position adjustment should be very weak. And he said that's not a good idea because then the card is only powerful in certain situations.
Right.
We should have a card at a certain power level. And so that way, a tone weak is worse than a tone strong. But you get a decision when you play them, as opposed to never play the card unless you're doing it like this.
Right.
And so that was a good game design philosophy that we talked about for half an hour over some burgers sometime.
Yeah, no, I think it makes good sense. You look at that ace pilot, and you can pretty much adjust whatever you want
Yeah.
with one card, or you have your get out of jail free card. It's not going to
Yeah.
last. You can't eat your cake and have it too.
Yeah.
So that keeps
Yeah.
people from burning through those weak cards for range and position if those were the ones that had the higher numbers, and then having those, tone steady or guns good angle cards to follow up with. Yeah, I think that was a very good decision,
Yeah.
actually.
And I'm looking at the next mission, and this is going to be a fun mission because we got two MiG-15s versus two F-80s, and I'm going to start on your tail. And I have two skills that really pump me up, but you have two better skills. I think Veteran gives you 2 or 3 stat adjustments. And I think Tiger gives you something else entirely.
Interesting. What was your
So, yeah.
when you put these campaign missions together? Were you looking at historical dogfights that took place?
Yeah. We got our research done, and what was really nice is the researchers put together this was the general feel of this war.
Uh-huh.
And then they also put, these are historical dogfights that actually took place.
Nice.
And what's nice is by giving us the operational level as well as the tactical level, we were able to, I was the one that created the campaigns, but I was able to take a look at all of that and say the Americans always had this, or the Israelis had that, or whatever. And so that way it gave me a good feel for the campaigns. And so for Korea, the Koreans had more aircraft flying around, but they were typically worse.
Right.
And so it meant that I got to build a campaign, so it was one of your guys versus 2 of my little guys. And so that gives a whole different feel than like a 1v1 or a 2v2 or something.
No, definitely. And it's really fun to watch the jet because everybody refers to the Korean War as the Forgotten War, and
Yeah.
it is comparatively speaking. But we're getting to see the evolution of these jet aircraft,
Yeah.
and they're
yeah.
going to come into their own because I think the Indo-Pakistani War is next after this one.
Yes, I believe so.
Right.
Yeah.
Which will be and that's an interesting topic historically. I mean, because they've had 3.
Yeah.
And this is just a couple of decades after statehood for them. So that'll be an interesting because you're going to see a lot of even match stuff, I think, in the Indo-Pakistani War.
I think when I was making the campaigns, I made the Israeli conflict first because I had a much better understanding of that, having just created Israeli Air Force leader.
Right.
But I also thought about the sites and stuff, and I wanted the campaigns to have sites. And Korean War sites didn't really do all that much because they were gun sites and stuff, but they weren't really tracking aircraft across the sky and blasting things at high altitude. But the Indo-Pakistani War does have gun sites.
And I did notice that.
Yeah. So depending on which side you're playing on, you may or may not have sites, or both sides may have sites, which lead to this, you're trying to force the other aircraft into these certain range, altitude, bandwidth, so that way your sights can take shots at them.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
When I first looked at the campaign sheets before I read the rules for the sites, I first looked at that and I was like, it scared me a little bit, as a level of complication that it just isn't. The site rules are just so simple. And I definitely think it adds an interesting aspect to that, especially like with something with the Yom Kippur War, because historically the Israelis had dominated the air, and then all of a sudden surface to air is a serious issue for them, and that's well represented in the campaign for Yom Kippur War.
Yeah, I think it was the SA-3 or SA-7 or something.
I think it was the 7.
That, yeah. And it did work. Like, the Israelis just didn't have the ECM pods to deal with them, and the Egyptians also got a lot of them. I think I remember one of the things were those sites, and I could be totally remembering wrong 3 years ago, they had like 8 or 16 missile tubes in them. and Israeli planes would fly over, and each missile had like a 30% chance to hit.
Right.
When you fire 16 of these things, you're basically guaranteed to hit with a couple of them.
Oh yeah, it's like a
And they were
shotgun.
they were just knocking planes out of the sky until the Israelis got help from the United States of getting better ECM pods.
Right, and the radar homing missiles, the AIM-7, I believe.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, AIM-7, AIM-9, I think, really came in during there.
Right. So yeah, I think the sites add a lot to it. That'll be fun, and I think the Indo-Pakistani War is a little smaller compared to that. So that'll give us a good chance to introduce the sites. I'm gonna have to figure out how I'm gonna represent those sites here on this graphic too.
Yeah, I can send you the initial artwork for them and see if that would help. And
yeah, definitely. I think I'm having ideas already, so I think we'll be all right.
Perfect.
All right. Well,
yeah.
We should probably sign off. Once again, questions, comments, like, subscribe. Buy Sarah coffee.
Yes.
Yes. And we will be back in a week.
All right, hold on.
Oh.
Sarah's walking on over.
Oh, great.
Please buy me coffee.
Yes. That makes all of DVG more bearable, right?
Yes.
And so they'll keep putting these out. And we'll be back in a week with another episode of Tone Steady. Bye for now.
Bye.